How can you help someone, anyone, today? We're going to talk about it on today's podcast. I've spent the last 20 years studying, teaching, and coaching people to find their greatness and take their lives to the next level. Along the way, it's become evident that emotions are at the root of everybody's successes and failures. Worry and fear are the enemies, and it's time to forge the armor and earn the tools to overcome the two things that could single-handedly destroy your future. Hi, my name is Michael Johnson, and I'm a life coach, a peak performance trainer, and I'm the emotions guy. It's time to take back control of how you feel, control of how you act, and control of how you experience life. It's time to become a lifer, a new breed of overachiever focused on living every minute to its fullest. We are responsible for how we feel, and no one and no thing can make us feel anything. Emotional mastery is our journey, and emotional education and intelligence is the key. We are lifers, and this is Magic for Life. What's up, lifers? Michael Johnson here with the Magic for Life podcast, and I'm so excited that you're here today because I want to ask you something. Who can you help today? Yes, today, not tomorrow, not who can you plan to help, not who can you create a nonprofit organization to go in and help today. There are a lot of people in your world. So think about this for a second. You have your people in your closest inner circle. Obviously, you have your significant other, if that's applicable. You have your business relationships and partnerships and circle of your team that maybe helps you accomplish what you do. You have the extended world around you. There's people that are acquaintances. You don't necessarily see them every day, but if they asked for a hand, you'd probably give them a hand. And then you've got the world at large. And sometimes we talk about changing the world. And what you have to understand is that your world is the first world that is applicable. And if you can start to change something in your world, that's the first step to being able to change the world. Let's not get crazy. There's great foundations and charities, and these are people that have stepped outside of their world to help the world as a whole. And that's great. And that's a great aspiration. And I highly recommend that you head there. But the first step, after you've started to take care of you and you are secure, then you've got to start to look at how you can change the world around you. And as you change the world around you, it will start to spread, right? They say that if you can, and I had one of my team members do the math on this, if you can change the lives of 10 people in the world this year, just this year, and they all commit to changing the lives of 10 people in their world. And if it continued to spread just like that, if all you did was commit to change 10 lives in a year, within about 5 to 7 years, we would change the entire population. To change the lives of the entire population, that sounds crazy, right? But the math adds up. And as long as everybody were to do that, it would be amazing. And it could be a little thing. It could be, you bought them food. It could be that you just helped somebody learn something they didn't know how. It could be that you were the shoulder to cry on for somebody that just needed some compassion and some empathy and some sympathy. So what can you do to change your world, right? And maybe you're doing something grander, and I commend you, and I hope that's the case. But do something today that could change somebody's world. What could it be? Go to the bookstore. If you have the means, drive by Barnes & Noble, stop by, pick up a copy of your favorite book. And you know that guy or that gal that is on rough times, sitting out there on the corner, asking for money, asking for help. Give them your favorite book. Just pull by, and instead of giving them $1, give them something that they can learn to fish with. Give them something that'll give them some motivation or some relief. What is your favorite book? I highly recommend, if you're going to hand out a book, hand out Think and Grow Rich. Hand out my book. A shameless plug, right? Hand out my book, everyminutebook.com. It'll teach them about emotional mastery, right? But like get a book, get something that you can teach them to fish. Have them become fishermen instead of just consumers, right? And if we can help people move into that place where they can be producers, then we can all help. We can all do something to help, to take something and give it out and help other people. What are you great at? What do you look at and you just think to yourself, oh, that's not that big of a deal. Yeah, I do that all the time. Maybe help somebody to do that. That would be great, right? And it's not that hard. Just one thing. It doesn't have to be this massive, feed 1 million people. And we appreciate, the people that are doing that. And you can work to that. But how about you just start with one? Just start with one person, maybe shoot for 10 this year. If you can do 10 easily, then let's shoot for 20, shoot for 100. But you know what? Help one person today. Just today, it's one thing. And if you made it a habit, if you helped one person every day with something, it could be the same thing or it could be a different thing every day. But if you helped one person every day, that'd be 365 people. What? That's crazy. And what a goal that would be. Just change the life of one person. It doesn't have to be major because, you've learned in math, if that line is going here and you just change it just a millimeter, that eventually it ends up over here. Just one little drop in the bucket, one little thing. How can you change somebody's life? Give them a book, teach them a principle, help them learn something that they've never learned before. You can be the coach, and you don't have to be certified and you don't have to be a professional coach, but you have some knowledge. You have something that you're good at. And I don't care if you're 8 years old or if you're 65. I don't care if you're on your deathbed listening to this podcast. I mean, I care, but not about whether or not you think you can help. In fact, you can help at any stage. At any stage. And you can make it so that you can give a piece of information that took you years, your whole life to learn, or you could give a piece of information that you learned a few days ago and it helped you. And how about if it helps somebody else? You see, my third my third child, who is a daughter, she loves making YouTube videos. She loves being creative and doing editing and creating things. And she learned how to do YouTube videos. So for her, I would say, hey, just teach one of your friends how to do it. Teach one of your friends the process that I taught you how to do. Right here, you do this first, you do this second, you do this third, and you can produce your own YouTube videos. So teach one of your friends, right? So it doesn't matter. And she only learned that recently, maybe 5 or 6 months ago, right? But she can teach it because she gets it and she's done it and she understands it and she's gone through it. So I don't care if you're 8 years old or if you are 100, right? You have something that you can share because of your experience, because of your 5 steps ahead, 2 steps ahead, 1 step ahead. You can share something with somebody else. And when you do, it'll touch your soul and it'll allow you to understand that you have something really great inside of you to offer. You have something very amazing, and it doesn't have to be a business, and it doesn't have to be a big hurrah. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but you have something to share with somebody else that they need to hear, and you don't know. Maybe they've needed to hear it for days, for weeks, for months, for years. And they needed you to step up and say that thing, and maybe today is the day. Maybe today is the day that you get on the phone. Now, it's not going in and being a lecturer and saying, you must do this, you have to do. No, you call them up and you go, hey, I was thinking I learned about this once. I thought maybe you could utilize this in some way. So I just thought I'd share it with you because I learned it, and I learned it the hard way, or I learned it because somebody else taught it to me and I just took it for granted and haven't thought about it since. But go help somebody today, just anybody, right? And if it could be somebody outside your closest circle, maybe there's a little bit more value to it because you'd probably help your inner circle, your people that are closest to you on a regular basis. And that's great, and you should keep doing that. But if you could just reach outside of yourself just a little bit, that could be cool too. And you could actually really, really change somebody's world in a profound way from that one little thing. Because how many times have we heard the story? How many times have you been the story where you're like, you know what? They didn't even know they were helping me. And they said to me this one thing, and it was the epiphany. And that one little thing set you on a course that changed your world forever. See, sometimes the things that we think are not that important, not that big of a deal, that we take for granted because we do them easily and we don't think twice about them. Sometimes those things, if you pass them on to one other person, could literally change their path forever. So you hear me at the beginning of all of the podcasts and I say, what's up, lifers? You are a lifer. It's in you. And whether you've embraced it or whether you haven't, it's in you. You are a lifer. So take that little bit and grow that ability to continue being a lifer and take it to that next level by helping somebody today. Help one person. Help 10 if you can. Just one person. It'll change your world too, because as you do, you will be engaging your soul, not just engaging your mind. And then you'll be able to actually start to feel something that maybe you haven't felt before. We know charity is important, but charity sometimes sounds like the wrong word. You should be able to help somebody because you want to help, because you want to give. Because when you give, it fills your soul, which is really such a paradox, isn't it? When you give out, it fills up. Wow, how does that work? That's another conversation for another time. If you know somebody that needs to hear this message, please share it with them. I'd love to be able to help change their world. If you're loving the podcast, please let us know. Put a comment down below and tell us that you love the podcast, and let us know that you're out there and that you love what we're doing and you love the content, because we do it for you guys. And so we want to hear from you, and it really helps fill my soul up when I can hear back from you guys that you're enjoying what we're putting out for you. The team works really hard. And so a big thank you to my entire team who really puts a lot of work into making this happen. And so if you have a moment, put in the comments, thanks to the Magic for Life team, because they do a lot. I get to be the face, but they do a lot to make this happen. And so make sure you thank them in the comments, because they like to hear it every now and then. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. I'm so grateful you're listening to the podcast. And again, if you're loving the podcast, put some comments below, share it with me, hashtag Magic for Life, take a screenshot, post it on Instagram, Lifers for the win. We'll see you guys. Have a good day. Hey, lifers. We expect upgrades to the base operating functions of the things like our phones, cars, and even refrigerators. Why then has it not been made a priority that we upgrade the operating systems of our emotional states? We dance around the subject of emotional mastery from a young age. We have so much more knowledge in today's world, yet we're still teaching outdated methods of emotional education, if any are being taught at all. It's time for a change. It's time for an upgrade to our emotional education. Let me help you learn how to do that. Pick up your free copy of Every Minute at everyminutebook.com.